chili cheeseburger, broccoli casserole, vegetable soup, cornbread, rice, tea, and of course my coffee. Woo! You know, road traveling is rough. That's why I was worried about getting the job. You know, I had a healthy time this morning, so I thought I was okay. You know, then we went and ate cheeseburgers, and then I had to go again. And it's rough when you road traveling, having to search for a bathroom. You know, and it's a serious bathroom. Went to Dollar General, because usually they got one, you know, it's only single. Oh no, ours is out of order. And I was in pain. So then went to this hot spot, and they got the little booths, but, you know, they got music blaring. You got people talking, people using the thing to dry their hands off. So if you didn't have to go, I'm the one that has to have it quiet, or a fan going or something. I had no problem today. It was rough. It was rough. But right now we're at this place. I think they got, my wife said, "What do you want?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Let's go up Garden Griddle in Greenwood." She said, "Okay." And then there's this place that has like discount groceries. I think it's called Bargains and Pelzer. So that's where we're at now. And I feel better. But yeah, I was truck driving, doing the training. And the teacher, he's 71 years old, so he gets tired. And another guy has a CDL, but he don't have it where he can haul trailers and all. I guess he had it where he could do the big extension, whatever you call it, the bar that attaches to something, so he could drive something that weighed more from the Air Force. But he never got authorized to drive trailers and all, so he knows how to drive pretty good, but he still has to do the inspection the way they want it. And I'll try to upload later the inspection, try to tweak it a little bit, and maybe, or just make comments, I don't know. But I was going to do that to listen, because I got like an hour ride in the mornings. I go next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we're off for 2 weeks, and then we got 4 or 5 weeks. But what's so bad, if you don't volunteer, they only want to do it like one time. So if you go twice, you might get 2 people, but then everybody gets bored, and then you got to drive. So you think you're there, you think 10 hours would be enough to get everything done, but then everything's kind of dragging butt. And then the instructor, he gets tired. So he's taking care of business and calling somebody, and the lead, one of the guys that knows how to drive, he just puts us with him. So we got one of the students teaching us how to drive. So it's kind of weird. And double clutching. There's a thing called floating the gears. And a lot of times I think what I'm doing, I'm just going straight to the gear. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'll get there, but you got to do it at certain RPMs. And they want you to get all the way to 5th gear, and you ain't even 12 miles an hour yet. So it's really hard. And you got to go 1-2. So you got your foot on the clutch, and then you got your other hand on the gear shift. And it's in, say, second gear. And it's a manual. So when you go 1, you press the clutch in, you're supposed to go neutral. And then when you press the clutch in again, you're supposed to go to the gear you want, according to how fast you're going and your RPMs. So it's like 1-2. You're supposed to switch that fast. So you got your left leg over here trying to do the 1-2, and you got your right arm over here doing the gears, and you don't know exactly where they are, even though you got a diagram. You try to remember it in your head, but trying to get them. And then sometimes if you don't have the right RPMs, or the engine's not revved up enough, it won't let it go in there. So it just kind of goes right there, and then you give it a little bit of RPM, just boom, and then it'll slide in. So that's going to be a challenge. You know, it's free for the most part, except for the aggravation, the gas and all, but it'll be an experience. Give me something to talk about. But what's so funny, whereas in the most of the class, we're all old. You know, I'm 52. Another guy's been retired 6 months. He's 59, and he's retired like 2 or 3 places. And the teacher, 71. Well, we got a young man that's 20 years old. So, you know, he works out all this healthy stuff. So he could probably, you know, he's kind of quiet. He could probably take us all out. But, you know, he's just around a bunch of old guys. But what was so funny here it was, and we got here early, me and the experienced guy, and the other guy hadn't got there yet. So we heated up the trucks because it's like 32 degrees. Well, he was in one truck and I was in another truck. And I said, okay, you know, I put the clutch in, put it neutral. I had the air brakes on. So it wouldn't go anywhere. I was like, okay, I'm not going to tear up anything. And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't hooked up to a trailer, you know, it's just a tractor. And so here I am, I'm heating it up. Didn't turn the radio on. I'm like, all right, handle this. Well, the teacher gets there, and the other guy, he gets in the cab with me. He says, back up, come straight back, so he can hook the trailer up. Well, I go to back up, I let the clutch all the way out. What the truck's doing this number? I was like, oh, the teacher's over there yelling, put the clutch in, put the clutch in. Because and the guy over there, he's like, he's trying to jump out of the truck. He can't get out. He was rattled so much, he had his little pocket knife fell out the seat. I said, hey man, you left your knife in the seat. And he's just like, and then later on when he calmed down, he said, I don't want to ride with you. I said, they all gonna have to go drinking after working with me, you know. So I told my wife, I said, I might not pass this day. And here I am, I like to put everything in my own words, and we're doing the inspection. You know, this just is hilarious. And you start out the outside inspection and the inspection in the book they used to use, but it's just a guide. And it's, you know, your signal lights and all that, you're supposed to be saying they're mounted and properly secured or working or something like that. Well, going through our inspection, they want us to tell them it's mounted with screws and seals, it's properly secure, it's the color amber, or it's the color red. Every light they got. You know, you got the running lights, and then you got the marker lights, and then you got signal lights. And if it's more than just a signal, you know, if it's on the right side, left side, it's a signal light and a four-way flashing light, and then you got the backup lights. So you got to describe all these lights, and even the light where the little tag goes in the back of the truck, and you got to tell what color it is. And I want to say white. The correct answer is clear. So, and then he says the hose. I said the hose is attached and it's working. He said you got to say the hose is attached properly at both ends. So, you know, you got to say both ends for everything. And then there's only certain things, I think, I got to review it, but I think you got to do your oil pressure, your water pressure, and then both your pressure gauges between 120 and 140. I think that's the main thing besides your ABS light. You got to make sure it's working. So after that, but yeah, whoo, they gonna remember me anyway. The way I do things, you know, I'd be sitting over there and then here I am trying to get my big butt in the truck. So, you know, it's supposed to be 3 points of contact. So I hold on to the rail and I pull my feet up to the first little step. Then I'm like trying to throw my leg because my legs don't want to go up so high. I'm trying to throw my leg up there in the steps and wobbling in there. I get in the truck, but then getting out, you know, I'm like got both my knees on the seat and I had to slide one leg back because I want to be holding on before I put that leg out of there. I don't want to go face first and then try to turn around. I might just keep going. And that'd be kind of hard. Supposed to get under the truck. I kind of got on the wheel and kind of hunched over. Hadn't really got under there all the way. And then you have your, what do you call it? I can't remember. That's why it's so hard to remember all this stuff. There's certain parts of the ignition that you got where your steering wheel is. It's like a slag bar and then some kind of wheel nut. I got to review that. The slack bar or whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff you got to study. It's where the steering wheel, the metal thing comes with the steering wheel, and you got to tell it has U-bolts holding it on. And all washers and seals are present. And that's just the inspection. And if you don't pass how to do a pre-inspection, they won't let you drive. Then we're going to we got to go forward in these cones, both sides, and back up and have that right. And then we're going to have to do an offset. We're going to have to come like this and kind of like halfway parallel parking, but you're just not going straight. You're kind of going over the side. And then we got to do a parallel parking. And then to be able to drive without stalling out. So, I don't know. I've been worried about it because we only got 10 classes left, and you're not able to do just constant. You do it, and they fuss, and then we practice, and then we're tired and we go home. So yeah, it's something else. I figured I'd talk about that because it's crazy. I got laid off like November 10th of 2022. Yep. And then, I've been working my little weekend job, and I tried working at a dealership for 3 weeks as a porter, and I hurt my back. I didn't get in the car right. And I said, well, why am I doing this for $13 an hour? And I make 18 on weekends, but it ain't but like 20 hours. But my wife said, well, go do it. It's free. But I've seen some people, a couple people I went to church with, and they were IT. Now, they knew what they were doing. I don't have a degree in IT. Mine's one of them useless degrees, business. He said there was free training. And all these other people talk about Intuit, doing training for online where you can do, I guess, bookkeeping and taxes. But I can't seem to get my head around that stuff. I need somebody to kind of be there with me. So the way they train you, for the test, I was able to get a bunch of tests and sample questions, and I just memorized the terms. But when you actually see this stuff, like what was it called? Yeah, that thing on the brake, it's got to be 90-degree angle. I remembered all that. And you got to be like half an inch to inch, being able to pull if you got the wheels chalked. But it's called a push rod and a slack adjuster. And those two things have to be kind of 90 degrees. And you got to be able to name the part of the brake. It looks like a big cam, but I forget what the two pieces are called. I got to go over that. But you got all these hydraulic hoses, and then you got the rim, and it can't be oblong, it's steel, and then you got your valve stems and covers. So I'm getting it. Underneath where your trailer is, where your fifth wheel goes into, is called your apron, and you got to know all these parts and name it and look for rivets and any defects. And it's good because these trailers that has, a torque bar, and they said, there's so much torque on this thing. Well, when people tell you that, and you're not really familiar, you're like, yeah, right. But then when the truck was jumping like this, oh, that's what that's there for. So, you can probably flip over a truck. There's a lot of power in one of these engines. And this job, trucking is a hard job. I thought the guy just climbed up there, drive the truck. And I knew, back in and all that, and having to go down the road. But you got to pay attention. You have to know what you're doing. Learning with automatic, I think, would have been a little bit easier. But, if you learn with a manual, you can drive anything. But I don't know. The guy that's been retired 6 months, he said he wants to buy him a truck and just work when he wants. But I don't want to spend all that money because I already owe student loans. And depending on if I make any money, I have to start making payments. But if I don't make any money, I think I'll be paid off when I'm like 74 or something like that. 25 years. Yeah, 51, 25, 76 years old, I'll be out of debt. I doubt I'll even live that long. Or if you get disabled. Death or disabled's the way I'm going to pay them off right now, unless I figure out how to make a bunch of money or YouTube. I did see this thing called Lady Ballers, which was pretty cool. You know, they're making fun of all this woke stuff going on. So even it's in there, but they're kind of making fun of it, you know. So it's like old style comedy, like, you know, I think Dana, I'm not saying his name right, but like Dana Carvey, he did an impression of Biden, was pretty good, you know, because you can imagine when he gets old and loses his hair, he kind of favor him. But Adam Sandler, you know, all those guys, nobody's really doing comedy like that, especially all the politically correctness, and who knows what it's about. But you don't have all this craziness going on around the world. They look at America like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all just got too much time on your hands. Anyway, Lady Ballers, spoiler alert, you know, these guys, they were real good in high school, and this coach, and then he starts, he wants to coach, like, he's coaching men, and they're acting like they're women, but they don't really dress full women, but they take over all women's sports. And then it's the season finale, so this is spoiler alert. So this other guy swatches out the real women's, and they put in like all NBA players, like real good. So they're dominating them, and then they do another switch out, swap out the little girls, and then they let them win, you know, and realize, hey, this kind of stupid, you know, it's a woman's sport, they should be playing. But it had Ben Shapiro, you know, the guy that's really Candace Owens, Matt Walsh, you know, had a lot of conservatives in it, which was really cool. You know, and I think Ben, I can't remember his last name, but the one that's really conservative, he's the one that produced it. And it was on like the Daily Mail or Daily something. But anyway, it's pretty good comedy. I seen it on the bootleg site. But yeah, man, just trying to live the dream. Wife's in here spending all the money on groceries, but hopefully she'll cook. She cooked last night, it's pretty good. And then my son called and wants to eat it all. We went and got that cheeseburger, chili cheeseburger, was really good. And the broccoli casserole. But the stuff my wife made was good too. I'd rather just sat home and chilled out instead of driving all over the place. But I think I'll get the inspection down. The driving, I don't know. But, you know, if I get it, hopefully I can use it. I just don't want to go out of town and, you know, been out of work so long, being able to survive, just, you know, what's the point? What's the point of killing yourself? You know, making all this money and then you ain't going to be able to enjoy it. I got all my 401ks that hadn't recovered yet, and I ain't even touched them. And I was able to replace my car. So I'm doing all right, fighting with my own self. And to watch my health and all that. So that's my own self, my own head's my biggest problem is me. You know, I don't know if anybody relate to that. But yeah, I know it's probably going to be a long video. I had to edit a little bit. Got to talk to grandbabies earlier by video. My son wants to go to this thing tonight. It's called Breezy Hill. I don't know if I feel like going. I go work 12 hours tomorrow, and I need to kind of halfway be relaxed. I don't want to push myself to the gills. My wife still wants to get food here, and then she wants to go to some kind of yard sale and then a couple other places. So no telling how long. Probably won't get home about 7 anyway. Maybe. And I got to get a tank of gas for my truck and a tank of gas for this car. So I'm already broke. But yeah, it's hilarious, man. Just living the dream. Hope everybody's doing good in December. Looking at this old, it's neat how they repurpose things and change them into something else. don't know what this used to be. It used to be some kind of grocery store, and they call it Bargains now. So we went a long way to get up here to see where it was, or come up here. But yeah, and it's busy. So, you know, hopefully we can get a lot of groceries for a cheap price, or because everything's went up. Walmart is so high. You go in there, you got to wait an hour. We only got like self-checkout. So, shoot, I could probably drive 80 miles, get the stuff here, and be home before I could get out of Walmart 15 miles away. Probably not, but feels like it. You know, you don't want the stress. Like this one guy, he's a comedian. Bill Moore, I think, kind of has a high visual, you know, something like that. I wish I could do impressions. That'd be funny. I had to work on them and see if I can do them. But he's talking about, you know, blue-collar worker and how they go out and do landscaping. He said you had that kind of free time. You had built-in free time. You know, we're working. You're getting paid to do it. But it's better than being at some desk and somebody like, are you done yet? Do this. Are you done yet? You got more. Email, and then go home, email. So it kind of made sense. But he turned into a comedian. So now he's got it made. But yeah, man, let me get off here and try to put all this mess together. And thank y'all for watching, and hope y'all are doing good. And be able to find the restroom. And be able to learn how to drive your truck. So it's harder than I thought it was. And then the little spot, I thought it'd be bigger, but you slide your seat and it's a little bitty spot to sit in. And then trying to get my legs ain't half working. Trying to get them to do the clutch and do what I want to. I'll be tired. I mean, like, man, I'm tired. Ain't done nothing. But I've been getting it's a big old parking lot. So I've been getting about 5,000 steps in, just walking around the parking lot. And that mainly just standing there. So I didn't think I could do it. So I'm impressed that I've been able to stand up, not fall down. I ain't fell down once. So that's good. Yeah, hope y'all doing good. Got my belly full. Done ate all my daily allowance. And up here, riding around this beautiful country of ours.